My ex-wife's affair cost me my marriage, but my daughter siding with her and her sugar daddy is about to cost me my sanity. Hey Reddit, so I'm Danny, 47, and I'm about to lose it. My whole life has been about providing for my family. Always the steady one, the responsible one. My ex, Vivian, let's just say she's always been more about herself. Our daughter, Chloe, always got caught in the middle. Vivian's great at manipulating everyone, always has been. I've let it go for years, always putting them first. But now, I don't even know who my family is anymore. Should I just walk away from it all? I thought things were okay. Strained, sure, but Vivian and I had been divorced for a few years and we were co-parenting Chloe as best we could. Or so I thought. I stopped by Vivian's place to pick up Chloe for dinner one night. She wasn't ready yet, so Vivian offered me a drink. I went to grab a glass from the kitchen and her phone was lying on the counter, screen lit up. I know I shouldn't have looked, but something made me. It was a text message and the preview was enough to make my stomach churn. Can't wait to see you tonight, baby, miss you already. Harmless enough, right? Wrong. It was from a contact named my Marcus 3, MyMarcus. I felt a wave of nausea. I picked up the phone, my hand shaking. Scrolling through the messages, I realized it wasn't just a flirtation. It was a full-blown affair. Pictures, plans for trips, declarations of love. This had been going on for months. Months, I felt like I was going to be sick. When Vivian walked in, I just held up the phone. She didn't even flinch. No shame, no remorse, just this cold, blank stare. So, she said, like I was the one interrupting something. Who is he? I managed to choke out. She shrugged. Someone who appreciates me, she said, appreciates her. I'd spent my life bending over backwards for this woman, for our family, and she throws it back in my face like it was nothing. I asked her who this Marcus was, what he did. Turns out, he's some hotshot tech entrepreneur, 20 years younger than me, loaded with cash. The whole thing felt like a punch to the gut. I felt like a fool, like my whole life had been a lie. And the worst part, Chloe walked in right then. She took one look at my face, another at the phone in my hand, and just rolled her eyes. Dad, don't be so dramatic, she said. Dramatic. My wife, mother, is having an affair with some guy and I'm being dramatic. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. But all I could do was stand there, feeling like the world was crashing down around me. I tried to talk to Chloe later that week. Tried to explain how much Vivian's betrayal hurt, how it wasn't just about me but about our family. I figured she'd understand. She's my daughter, for God's sake. We always had a good relationship, or so I thought. I sat her down, told her how I was feeling. Chloe, I started, my voice shaking a little, this isn't right. What your mother is doing, it's not fair to me, to us. Her response, a blank stare and a sigh. Dad, you're being overdramatic. You and Mom were drifting apart anyway. Drifting apart, drifting apart. We were a family. We had problems, sure, but what couple doesn't? This wasn't some slow drift, this was a torpedo to the hull. Drifting apart doesn't give her the right to just replace me, I said, trying to keep my voice level. No one's replacing you, Dad, she said, rolling her eyes. That eye roll, it's like Vivian's possessed her. People deserve to be happy. Happy at my expense, at the expense of our family. I felt my hands clench. And what about my happiness, Chloe? What about how I feel? She shrugged. You'll get over it. Get over it. Like it's a spilled glass of milk. My blood was boiling. I could feel my face getting hot, my chest hurt. This isn't about getting over it, Chloe. It's about respect, about loyalty, it's about basic decency. Oh please, she scoffed. Marcus is actually nice to me. He listens, he cares. The way she emphasized cares made it clear what she thought of my efforts over the years. That's when I realized this wasn't normal. This wasn't just teenage angst, this was brainwashing. Vivian had poisoned her against me. She'd twisted everything, made me out to be the bad guy. And the worst part, Chloe was buying it. Hook, line, and sinker. I just stared at her, completely speechless. The room started to spin. I had to get out of there. I stood up abruptly, knocking over my chair. I can't do this right now, I mumbled, my voice thick with barely contained rage. I turned and walked out, leaving her sitting there. I felt like a failure, a complete and utter failure. 2 weeks later, and it's only gotten worse. Way worse. Chloe officially moved out. Not to a dorm, not to a shared apartment with friends. No, she moved in with Vivian and Marcus in their luxury downtown condo. The condo that probably cost more than my entire house. The condo that I'm indirectly helping pay for thanks to the alimony and child support I'm still shelling out to Vivian. It's like a twisted, sick joke. I tried to talk to her, of course, tried to reason with her. Chloe, this isn't right, I said, trying to keep the desperation out of my voice. You're 19, you should be experiencing life, not living in some gilded cage with your mother's rich boyfriend. Her response, a cold, hard stare. It's not a cage, Dad, it's an opportunity. Opportunity. Opportunity to be spoiled and pampered while I work my ass off to make ends meet. It's sickening. Then came the kicker. And by the way, she added, twirling a strand of her newly highlighted hair, highlights I'm guessing Marcus paid for. Marcus said I don't need to worry about college right now. He thinks I should take some time to find myself. Find herself. She's failing her classes, she's throwing her future away. And for what? For designer handbags and fancy dinners. I felt my blood pressure spiking. Chloe, I said, my voice rising, you can't just drop out of college. You've worked so hard, what about your dreams? She just shrugged. My dreams are evolving, she said, with an air of smug superiority that made me want to scream. I'm losing sleep. I can't focus at work. My friends are worried about me. I feel like I'm drowning, and every time I reach for a lifeline, Chloe pulls me back under. And now, Vivian and Marcus have brought in the cavalry. My in-laws. They called me yesterday, both of them ganging up on me, telling me I'm being unreasonable, that I need to let Chloe live her life. Let her live her life. She's throwing her future away, and they're enabling it. They even had the audacity to suggest that I'm the problem, that I'm jealous of Marcus's success. Jealous? I'm worried about my daughter. Daniel, my mother-in-law said, her voice dripping with condescension, Chloe is a grown woman, you need to accept that she's made her choice. Choice, I practically yelled into the phone. She's been manipulated, brainwashed. My father-in-law chimed in, his voice booming. Don't you dare speak about Vivian that way, she's only looking out for Chloe's best interests. Best interests? Are you kidding me? I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I ended the call, my hands shaking. This isn't just about Chloe anymore. This is a full-blown war. They've all turned against me. I'm being painted as the villain in a story I don't even recognize. I know I need to do something. I can't keep letting them walk all over me. I can't keep enabling this insanity. I have to take a stand. But how? What the hell do I do? So I finally broke down and talked to Sarah, a colleague from work. We've been friends for years and she's seen the whole Vivian saga unfold from the sidelines. I was hesitant at first. This whole mess is so embarrassing, you know. Like, how could I let this happen? I felt like such a failure. I started by just venting about Chloe moving in with Vivian and Marcus. I told her about the luxury condo, the dropped classes, the finding myself BS. I even told her about the highlights. It sounds petty, I know, but it's just symbolic, you know, of how much Chloe is changing, how much she's being influenced by Vivian and that guy. Sarah just listened, nodding occasionally. Then when I finally finished my rant, she looked at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. Danny, she said, her voice soft but firm, are you kidding me? This is insane. Chloe is being completely manipulated. Hearing someone else say it, someone outside the whole twisted dynamic, it was like a light bulb went off. I mean, I knew it deep down, but hearing Sarah validate my feelings, it was powerful. I know, I said, my voice cracking a little. I know she is, but everyone else thinks I'm the crazy one. My in-laws, even Chloe, they're all drinking the Kool-Aid. Sarah shook her head. Danny, you're not crazy. Vivian is a master manipulator and Marcus is enabling her. They're dangling this lavish lifestyle in front of Chloe, and she's too young and naive to see what they're really doing. She paused, then said something that really hit me. They're buying her loyalty, Danny, they're buying her love, and they're using your money to do it. That's when it really hit me. They're using MY money to buy MY daughter's affection. It's like they're rubbing my nose in it. I don't know what to do, I admitted, feeling completely lost. I feel like I've tried everything. Talking, reasoning, pleading, nothing works. Sarah looked at me, her expression serious. Danny, you need to stop enabling this behavior. You need to set boundaries. Boundaries, the word echoed in my mind. I had never considered that before. I had always just given in. Always put everyone else's needs before my own. What do you mean? I asked. You need to stop funding this charade, she said, her voice firm. Tell Chloe that unless she starts taking responsibility for her life, her education, her future, you're cutting her off financially. My heart skipped a beat. Cut her off? Could I really do that? It felt wrong, like I was abandoning her. Sarah saw the hesitation on my face. Look, Danny, I know it sounds harsh, but it's tough love. Right now, she has no incentive to change. She has everything she wants handed to her on a silver platter. You need to make her realize that actions have consequences. She continued, You're not responsible for her choices, Danny. You're her father, not her ATM. You deserve to be respected and your feelings are valid. You're not the bad guy here. Hearing those words, "You're not the bad guy here," it was like a weight lifted off my chest. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could take control of this situation. Maybe I could save my daughter from herself. It wouldn't be easy, but I knew deep down that Sarah was right. I had to do something. I had to fight back. It was Chloe's birthday. I'd swallowed my pride and gotten her a necklace, something simple but meaningful, a small hummingbird pendant. It reminded me of her, always flitting around, full of energy. I figured maybe, just maybe, this could be a turning point, a small gesture of peace. I showed up at Vivian's condo, necklace in hand. The door was opened by Marcus, grinning smugly. "Danny boy," he boomed like we were old pals. I just glared at him. He stepped aside and there she was. Chloe, decked out in designer clothes, a brand new handbag slung over her arm. She barely glanced at me. "Happy birthday, Chloe," I said, holding out the small velvet box. She took it, opened it without a word, and then she laughed. A cruel, mocking laugh that cut me to the core. "Seriously, Dad," she said, holding up the necklace like it was a piece of garbage. "This is what you got me. After Marcus took me to Hawaii for a week. After he got me this." She gestured to the obscene diamond bracelet sparkling on her wrist. A bracelet that probably cost more than my car. It's a hummingbird," I stammered, my face burning. "I thought you used to love hummingbirds." "Yeah, well, I've upgraded," she sneered. "Upgraded, like I was some outdated piece of software." Then the final blow. "Look, Dad," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "I appreciate the thought, I guess. But honestly, just give me the cash next time, it's easier for everyone." Just give me the cash, like I was some walking, talking ATM. That's when something inside me snapped. It was like a switch flipped. All the hurt, all the anger, all the resentment, it coalesced into this white-hot rage. My hands started shaking, my heart pounded in my chest. I felt this wave of nausea wash over me, but at the same time, a strange sense of calm. I didn't yell, I didn't scream. I just looked at her, this a stranger wearing my daughter's face, and I felt nothing. No more guilt, no more self-doubt, just this cold, hard certainty. I took a deep breath and said very calmly, "No, Chloe, I won't." She looked at me surprised. "What?" I said no, I repeated, my voice still steady. "I won't give you the cash. I won't fund this lifestyle, not anymore." Her face contorted in disbelief. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about you taking some responsibility for your life," I said, my voice rising now. "I'm talking about going back to school, getting your grades up. I'm talking about earning your keep." "You can't do that," she shrieked, her voice shrill. "You're my father, you have to support me." I just shook my head. "Not like this, Chloe, not anymore." And with that, I turned and walked out, leaving. Walking away, it felt right. Like finally, after all this time, I was taking back control. I knew this was just the beginning of a long, hard road. But for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope. I had finally drawn a line in the sand, and I wasn't backing down. Okay, Reddit, buckle up. I knew this confrontation was coming, and I wasn't going in unprepared. This wasn't just about my feelings, this was about taking back control. First, I documented everything. I had copies of Chloe's tuition bills, bank statements showing the money I was sending, even screenshots of her social media posts bragging about her lavish gifts. Proof. Cold, hard proof of her entitled behavior and the insane double standard she was living under. I even printed out the text messages between Vivian and Marcus that I'd saved. I knew Vivian would deny everything, twist the narrative to make me look like the bad guy. I wasn't going to let that happen. I was ready. Then I talked to Sarah some more. She's a lifesaver, honestly. She helped me strategize, helped me figure out exactly what I was going to say. We role-played the confrontation, anticipating Vivian and Chloe's reactions. Knowing what to expect, having a plan, it made me feel so much more confident, like I was finally in the driver's seat. I also started seeing a therapist. This whole thing has been a roller coaster, emotionally. Talking to someone objective, someone who could help me process all the anger and hurt, it was invaluable. It helped me stay calm, stay focused on my goals. It helped me realize that I wasn't crazy, that my feelings were valid. Therapy isn't weakness, reddit, it's strength. Finally, I prepared myself mentally. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. I knew Chloe would be furious. I knew Vivian would try to manipulate the situation, try to turn Chloe against me even more. I steeled myself for the inevitable backlash. I visualized the confrontation, over and over again, picturing myself staying calm, staying firm, no matter what they threw at me. This was my line in the sand. I wasn't backing down, not this time. I was ready for war. So I marched into that condo, heart-pounding, file folder clutched in my hand like a shield. Vivian and Marcus were lounging by the ridiculously oversized windows overlooking the city, champagne flutes in hand. Chloe, predictably, was sprawled on the plush white sofa, scrolling through her phone. The air was thick with the cloying scent of lilies and money. "Daniel," Vivian said, her voice dripping with disdain. "What a surprise. To what do we owe the pleasure?" I ignored her, turning to Chloe. "We need to talk," I said, my voice firm. "Can't it wait, Dad?" she mumbled, not even looking up from her phone. "I'm busy." "Busy doing what?" "Instagramming her latest haul of designer crap." "No," I said, my voice rising slightly. "It can't wait," Marcus chuckled. "Come on, Danny, don't be a buzzkill. We're celebrating Chloe's birthday." "Celebrating her flunking out of college," I retorted, my eyes fixed on Chloe. That got her attention. She finally looked up, her eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about this," I said, slapping the file folder down on the glass coffee table. The sound echoed in the otherwise silent room. "Your tuition bills. Your failing grades, the money I've been sending you while you're living here like a princess." Chloe's face paled. Vivian shot me a venomous look. "Daniel, don't you dare." "Don't you dare what, Vivian?" I interrupted, my voice rising. "Don't you dare tell me how to parent my daughter, the daughter you've been systematically poisoning against me." "Poisoning?" Vivian scoffed. "I'm simply showing her what a real life can be like, unlike the modest existence you offer." "Modest?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "Modest, I work my ass off to provide, Vivian, while you and your boy toy live off my money." Marcus stood up, his face flushed. "Now listen here." "No, you listen," I roared, finally unleashing the pent-up fury that had been simmering inside me for months. "This charade ends now. Chloe, you want to live this lifestyle, fine, but you're not getting another dime from me until you start taking some responsibility for your life. You go back to school, you get your grades up, you get a job, you earn it. Until then, consider this gravy train over." Chloe's face crumpled. But Dad." "No buts, Chloe," I said, my voice softening slightly but still firm. "I love you, but I'm not enabling this anymore. I'm not watching you throw your future away for a few designer handbags and a sugar daddy's empty promises." I turned to Vivian, my eyes blazing. "And you," I said, my voice low and menacing. "You've won. You've got your fancy condo, your boy toy, your lavish lifestyle, but you've lost something far more valuable. You've lost your daughter's respect. And you've lost me for good." With that, I turned and walked out, leaving them stunned into silence. The click of the door closing behind me was the most satisfying sound I'd heard in months. It was the sound of freedom, the sound of victory. I won. Update. The price of loyalty walking away was harder than I thought. Hey Reddit, it's Danny again. It's been about 6 months since I walked out of Vivian and Marcus's condo, and a lot has happened. I figured I owed you guys an update, especially after all the support I got on my last post. The immediate fallout was rough. Chloe was furious. She bombarded me with texts and calls, accusing me of being controlling, unloving, and ruining her life. Vivian, of course, piled on, threatening legal action, claiming I was neglecting my parental duties. My in-laws also joined the chorus, echoing Vivian's accusations. It was a full-on assault. I felt like I was under siege. There were moments I questioned myself, wondered if I'd done the right thing. But then I'd remember Chloe's entitled attitude, her casual dismissal of my feelings, and I'd steel myself again. I knew I was right. Then, about a month later, things started to shift. The calls and texts from Chloe became less frequent, less vitriolic. One day she called, her voice subdued, almost hesitant. Turns out the gravy train Marcus had promised wasn't as endless as she'd thought. He'd started putting pressure on her to get a job, to contribute. He'd even started complaining about the cost of her upkeep. The rose-tinted glasses had come off. Reality had hit. A few weeks after that, she showed up at my doorstep. No designer clothes, no fancy handbag, just my Chloe, looking lost and scared. We talked for hours that night. She apologized, really apologized. She admitted that she'd been manipulated, that she'd let the allure of the good life blind her to what really mattered. It wasn't a magical fix-all conversation, but it was a start. A real start. So where are we now? Chloe's back in school, working part-time, living in a small apartment near campus. She's not getting straight A's, and our relationship isn't perfect. There's still a lot of hurt, a lot of rebuilding to do. But we're talking, we're trying. And that's more than I could have hoped for a few months ago. Vivian, on the other hand, is still Vivian. She's made it clear she doesn't approve of my interference in Chloe's life. She and Marcus are still together, though from what I hear, things aren't as rosy as they once were. Karma's a bitch, I guess. As for my in-laws, they're still Team Vivian, but I've learned to detach. I can't control their opinions, and I'm not going to try. What have I learned through all this? A lot. I've learned that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. I've learned that true love doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. And I've learned that sometimes, walking away is the strongest thing you can do. It's still a work in progress, Reddit. The wounds are still healing, and I don't know what the future holds. But I'm hopeful. For Chloe, for myself, for our future. Has anyone else gone through something similar? How did you handle it? Any advice on navigating this ongoing rebuilding process with my daughter?